Bartholomew has a nickname only his true friends can call him, Barth, which no one else can use. Bartholomew's driving force is to avenge those who have passed away. Barth started out as a brute fighter in a sanctioned fight club. During a fight, a gnome threatened to kill all of their friends and family if they didn't throw the fight. It enraged them so much they ended up killing the person they were fighting. They ended up getting discharged from the fight club after the accident, as the fight club couldn't risk it happening again. Bartholomew and the fight club had no ill will towards each other. They understood that it wouldn't be good for them to have someone who accidentally killed someone. Bartholomew was cleared of any wrongdoings, as well as the authorities felt that it was a valid response to such a threat. However, Bartholomew felt so bad that it happened, they ended up tinkering with gadgets, along with creating a construct that is a walking suit of armor. They also spent some time with wizards to learn a few spells. Fast forward a year, while they were sleeping, their partner was killed in the bed as they slept together. Upon waking up and seeing their partner dead, they became very mad and wondered who could do such a horrible deed. It only got worse as they exited the house. All of the small town was in flames, and despite their best efforts, no one in town survived. All of their friends perished in the incident. This led to Bartholomew hell-bent on finding and getting revenge on the ones who wronged him. All they have to go on is that he couldn't hear anyone during the night, despite being such a light sleeper and always on high alert. After some time, they came upon Nilos, who agreed to help find out who did it. Nilos is sure it was the gnomes, but Bartholomew thinks it was most likely a group of dark elves. They cannot think of anyone more stealthy than them. No concrete signs have been given on who or what group did it, but the only link seems to be the gnome they'd accidentally killed. Guild. The Griffin's Talon. Generally a neutral guild, never really took a side in any conflict, then started taking more morally questionable jobs alongside their rival guild, Raven's Call. Kidnapping princesses, human trafficking, illegal substance distribution, etc. Guild Leader, Human, Alex J. Jonas. Mastermind Hunter, Faction Leader, Half-Elf, Nail Tyson. Bill's best friend, left the guild with Bill. Bill was second in command. Bill is not his real name. Thief Faction Leader, Tiefling, Ash Assassin's Sector, Drow, Rinloth Dalumbra. Bill grew up poor and spent a lot of time hunting. He joined the Griffin's Talon in place of his brother after his brother was caught stealing from them. He was good at tracking targets from his hunting expertise. He was the best tracker and woodsman in the guild, even though he didn't have a clear view of the big picture. He made a couple of close friends in the guild, and the only one still alive is Nail. Bill got married to a young woman named Crystal. However, she worked for Raven's Call as an assassin. She was sent to kill Bill. Her attempt on Bill's life left him with a scar on his chest from his right pec to the left clavicle. He overpowered her and killed her. Not long after that, Bill and Nail were sent on a bounty for a prominent family. Their job was to locate and return the runaway. They tracked her to the woods outside her family's town and noticed that she looked much worse than 3 days' worth of exposure. He and Nail left and went into hiding. Bill changed his name and moved into a small town named Greenest. He had been trying to live in peace with his birds, but fate has other plans and pulled him back into adventuring. Gwendolyn Moonwhisper is her parents' only child, which would have been amazing if she had been a male. As a male, she would have been expected to lead, and so would have been trained to take over when her father stepped down. But because she was female, she was expected to be demure, polite, reserved. Growing up, Gwen spent a lot of time hiding from her parents and her tutors, learning the ways of being a ranger from her Aunt Alara, basic druidcraft from her uncle Arian Flamecoat, and hiding in the wolf dens, bonding with the clan's protectors. Gwen learned that her freedom was quickly coming to an end when she had heard her parents talking about a marriage they were going to be arranging for her. While love has always been something Gwen hoped to find, she didn't think she'd find it with whatever patriarchal-believing male her father had deemed appropriate to lead the Cormanther clan after him. So, she started planning her escape that night. When the tragedy at the library resulted in her cousin Gina's exile, Gwen saw her chance. She sent her cousin a message using her personal guard, a young wolf named Rage. In the note, Gwen asked Gina to meet her in the woods in a spot they used to play. Gina Flamecoat is an elven wizard from the heart of Cormanther. a forest renowned for its ancient magic and elven inhabitants. From a young age, she displayed the natural affinity for the arcane that most high elves do, spending countless hours immersed in the lore and secrets of the library. A childhood experience that sticks with her was when she witnessed a devastating forest fire, which ignited a deep fascination with the element and shaped her path towards the Evocation School of Magic. This obsession with fire is both a source of power and a constant struggle for control. Despite her family's deep roots in the forest, Gina's choice to pursue arcane magic has set her apart. Her father, Arian Flamecoat, is a respected druid and a scholar, while her mother, Alara Moonwhisper, is a skilled archer and protector of Cormanther. Her younger brother, Phalar Flamecoat, is an adventurous spirit who looks up to his sister. A tragic accident during her studies in the myth of Draenor led to the destruction of a portion of a library, and several important tomes within. To atone for her mistake, Gina was banished and tasked with replacing the lost knowledge. This quest has taken her all over the Sword Coast, where she seeks answers and a chance to redeem herself. Gina is terrified of the undead, which stems from an encounter with crawling hands during her childhood and feeds her fear of the unknown. Her nightmares are occasionally plagued by wraiths, crawling hands, and zombies, which motivates her to learn everything she can about them. Nilos was a hatchling in the Mountains of Copper. His tribe had special plans for him even before he had hatched. He didn't realize the plan until much later in his life. His shell was a different color. It had red flecks throughout the surface, which is quite rare. As he matured, he began service in his tribe's military, as all young ones do when they reach maturity. He excelled as a soldier and found that he was very good at smashing the enemy. He quickly rose in rank to a captain. And things were great, but he started to get older. The tribe said it was time to retire. He was coming upon his 18th season and was deemed too old for active service. 12 years of service that he honed certain skills for, but they had other plans for his skills and talents. They asked if he could search and locate any magic items that could possibly set the Great Kurtulmak free. Once freed, the kobolds can rise up again and not have to grovel in fear, hide in deep caves, or cower down before the non-draconic races. So, for the past 14 years, he has been traveling throughout the lands, hiring himself out as a soldier, a mercenary, an adventurer, while he searched dungeons, caves, mines, castles, everywhere he can go for the magic items his peoples need to free the Great Kurtulmak. At a young age, Tuli never understood much of the priest's teachings. Maybe growing up in a temple dedicated to the Helm, the Citadel of Protection in Raven's Bluff, just wasn't right for her. As she grew older, she continued to fall behind her peers, only grasping the basics. Eventually, she ran, tired of the walls she grew up in, tired of the teachings she didn't understand. The escape to the real world wasn't much better for her. She wandered Raven's Bluff and the surrounding areas. The teaching of the priests made even less sense to her. They taught her to protect those that could not protect themselves, but all she saw was the people of the cities being more than capable, if anything, too capable. She began to roam, first going east, then eventually north. There she came across the Dunwood, and eventually the town of Helgabal. She experienced the destruction of parts of Dunwood for lumber, to build cities, to heat homes. To her, it was the forest that needed protection. She began to reside within the forest itself, helping its residents surviving and learning. She found a small druid's glade that welcomed her with open arms. Quickly, the idealistic Tuli found that there was no stopping the cycle of life. We are all born, we all age, and we all die. The druids taught her that it was a cycle. They focused on protecting the life that existed from being cut short. It was too similar to the words of the Helm of the Priests, protect those that can't protect themselves. To her, the march of life takes us ever closer to the grave. Death brings a burst of life in the forest. A fallen tree becomes shelter for critters, but importantly feeds fungi. To her, the fungi was fascinating, for it was life and death as one. It helps the growth of all living things in the forest, and when the time comes for those living things to expire, the fungi returns into the cycle. The druids did not approve. While fungi has its place, they feared Tuli would lose herself. To them, decay exists as a form of life. It hungers and cannot be satiated. Protests aside, she would spend sleepless nights studying and tending the mushrooms. When she did sleep, her dreams would be filled with whispers, a chorus of voices, each one more hushed than the last. She forged a bond with the mycelium. Tuli would go on to use her connection to restore balance where it is lost, to return the dead where they belong so the cycle may continue. Despite her eccentricities, she still craves connection to other mortals, and for that reason she finds herself in the cities of Damara, including Bloodstone.